So good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. We have a special presentation. It is from our friends at Newark Housing Authority with Newark Section 8. Today they'll be sharing an array of topics and information for you as well as the general public that will be watching in the near future at home. So be sure to ask as many questions, comment, give them feedback, because we want this conversation to be very fruitful. So I'm going to introduce our first presenter, who is Betty B.J. Walton. She serves as the Outreach Constituency Specialist. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. A lot of title, just a lot of title. First of all, I want to apologize because we got mixed up. We thought it would be tomorrow. So I want to apologize for our attire. We normally dress to impress when we're coming to do a presentation. What we're going to try to do today is, we're not like any other Section 8 that was in Newark Housing Authorities. We're more involved in the community than anybody else. We also are partnerships with you guys. So a company cannot come to us to lease up one of our sites unless they have paid their water bill and their taxes. We make sure that they cannot do anything. Plus, we also make sure that they register with rent control. We have an array of programs. We have more than you would know. We do a lot of volunteer work in the city. You may invite us to any of your functions. This is my director. This is Dwayne Knight. Jackie Oliver, she has special programs. And this is Savak Young. Savak is in charge of our wait list and everything else. What I do is, anything that comes that is out of the ordinary, I take care of. If there is a mugging and one of our tenants get hurt or fire, I take care of that. I'm the nosy one. Any questions you want answered, all you have to do is ask. We give you our numbers. My number you'll get is a cell number, and that's 201-618-6164. I can be reached 24/7, 201-618-6164. I can be reached 7 days a week. If you think it's an emergency, do not please call me to ask me about somebody on the wait list, because I would not be able to answer that. We're planning to go back out to enhance our wait list next month. We're trying to go for the 13th to the 19th, but we're going to make sure that you guys know exactly when we're going out and how we're going to proceed. At this time, I'm going to introduce Jackie Oliver, because the programs that she has is, like I said, not any programs that have been in the city of Newark. Oh, I'm sorry. I make a mistake. Normally, that's the pattern that we go in. But now, Dwayne has to get back to the office, so Dwayne wants to say something.
Thank you, Betty. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having us. Thank you. So this is a great opportunity. We see this as a real opportunity of sharing information, because we need to share information. Number one, it's really important that people understand and learn how the Section 8 program works, on the one hand, and also because it services a significant amount. It services over 6,500 families in our city. So we passed out some information that we'll get into and all of that, but one of there's some key there was a couple key things that I wanted to make sure we conveyed. I know you've heard it over and over again. We're still coming out of COVID. At one point we don't really want to even talk about COVID anymore. But what we have observed, and I have observed, is COVID still has an impact. At the office, we call it COVID PTSD, if you will, right? Our clients have it, because we're experiencing that what usually would take one phone call with a client sometimes takes 2 calls with a client and a follow-up email as a reminder, just because families have so much going on, right? So as an overlay to all that we talk about, we just ask that we remember that we have to be a little extra empathetic when working with our families, right? And working with the Section 8 families in particular. Now, oftentimes when they come to you guys, they're coming because they're tired or frustrated with something or don't understand something that we've requested and all of that. So what we realize is really important. Would you all have the same information so that they hear, look, all you have to do is, sometimes it's as simple as, they're just waiting for you to sign this form and bring it in. They can't do the next step without your signature on this. And so, yeah, so we need your help, and we want to make sure that we're partners in the success of this. There's some general information. I mean, the Section 8 program, as you all know, it's a national rent assistance program. It's the federal government's largest investment in rental assistance nationally. It's governed by the federal rules from the Department of Housing and Urban Development. And the rules and regulations that the Section 8 program follows. 99% of what Section 8 does is actually driven by this specific regulation, and even how we calculate a tenant's income is actually driven by regulation. In total, across the nation, it's administered through approximately 2,200 housing authorities or state public housing authorities and state agencies. It services 2.1 million families across the nation. And in the city of Newark, of course, Newark Housing Authority administers the Section 8 program. As I mentioned, we have approximately 6,500 families on the program. That's actually up from pre-COVID, where we were close to 6,400 families. So through the end of COVID and now, we've put about 200 additional families on the program. That's no small effort to the team that you're really going to hear from. General information also is that the Section 8 is a partnership program. It requires a partnership with private landlords. And we work with approximately 5,500 private landlords. On average, our households on the program have about $16,000 in annual income, and our average monthly housing assistance payment per family is about $1,000. So that's just some general information about the Section 8 program. They'll get into further details on it, and you'll hear the instances and areas that we can collaborate and work together. All right, so with that, I'll hand it over to Jackie.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. My name is Jacqueline Oliver. I am the supervisor of the Project-Based Voucher Special Programs Division. Project-based vouchers, just for your information, are vouchers that are hinged upon units. They are not portable. Case in point, if you guys are familiar with, excuse me, a little cold, Lincoln Towers, 7989 Lincoln Street, that is a project-based voucher senior facility. Those vouchers, again, they are for the units. They are not transferable. So I know sometimes you get a call, I want to move, I'm ready to go because I don't like this unit and stuff is going on. We do not move people out of project-based voucher units. We put them on the waiting list, and when money is available to us, after they've been in the unit for a year, if and when, and according to where their name falls on that particular wait list that my staff and myself, we house, then we will issue a voucher. It's not just as simple as, I don't like Lincoln Towers anymore, I don't like the property manager. It's just not that simple. So project-based vouchers are a different kind of animal. However, if there is some kind of emergency situation that Ms. Walton she is privy to or I'm privy to, then we can discuss it. There are certain things that we have to move families out. If there's some kind of violence, extreme domestic violence, we are not going to have a family to stay in a unit where there's domestic violence going on. If there is threat to life and limb to a family, and we have that documentation, again, that's a conversation that you'd have with Ms. Walton. Ms. Walton would then in turn communicate with me and my staff and myself. We will work to do our best in order to make sure that that particular family is removed out of harm's way. So that's one of my programs. I am also in charge of the homeless voucher program. I know you guys all heard about that program. I was doing that program for a while. We don't have any more money as of yet, but we shall see. But the homeless voucher programs, again, we went to the shelters. We worked in accordance with the health department, Miller Street, all the shelters that are down here, 224, Hope Village. We worked with them in order to be able to administer vouchers to the homeless families as well as individuals. So I think last year I leased up probably had to be about 150 to 200 homeless families, which is it's a feat. Because as you know, homeless families are, they're homeless. They're used to living in Penn Station or in the shelter or under the bridge. Or we had one gentleman, rest his soul, Jeff Hardgrove, and Jeff was one of our hard cases. When I came to work for Section 8, he was living in the back of the building, and we finally got him leased up. And that was a major feat because I was told that he was behind that building for more than 10 years. So that was a major feat. So that's another program that I do. I also do mainstream vouchers. Mainstream vouchers are particular vouchers with individuals that have physical or some kind of other disability. That's another program that is housed in my department. Right now we have 150 families housed under the mainstream voucher program. And those vouchers, those families have services that go along with it. So bridges, path, the Y, to ensure that, they're paying their rent. If they need to be able to have somebody to say, oh, did you get your medication refilled? If they need somebody just to talk to in order to stable them out, that's the voucher that they would use. I got a lot of stuff going on, guys. I also am in charge of the Family Self-Sufficiency Program. Those are people who have a voucher. And let's say this family, they are on welfare. The mother's on welfare. So my FSS person sits down with them and we go, okay, so let's talk about goals. What do you want to do? Let's see what we can do in order to make you self-sufficient. So we look into, okay, so you want to get your high school diploma, maybe you don't have your high school diploma. So where can we go to get your high school diploma? You want to go to further your education and get your bachelor's degree. Meanwhile, upping what you do when it comes to making money. So we established an escrow account. So there's a portion that we put into an escrow account, and it's a 5-year program. And after 5 years, you can opt to take that money, or you can opt to put it towards the purchase of buying a home. It is up to you, but it's a goal. You got to meet certain goals. And I've had people who've graduated from the program, $20,000 in escrow, $10,000. That's a good thing, that not only have you helped them to move up in regards to education, but also you're helping them move up in regards to jobs. People are getting bachelor's degrees and master's degrees, and at the end of it, they still have some money at the end of it. So that's a really good thing. I'm extra proud of that program. The other program that I am involved in, I still have more. The other program that I am involved in right now, it's a new program. It's the FYI program. It's the Foster Youth to Independence program. We have like 28 of those. And that's that's another program that I'm extremely proud of, because we're talking about are young people who were in foster programs. And now what we're doing is we're giving them vouchers, we're working along with Covenant House, and we're helping them and assist them to get into a home. Because after a certain, you're aged out of foster care, where do you go? Where do you go? A lot of them don't have the wherewithal or the monies, or how do I do it in order to get something? So that's one of our newer programs, which I am, it's like a baby, and we definitely are proud of that one. And last but not least, the favorite program is the home ownership program. So that falls under my department as well. I'm quite sure you've seen the Facebook post and all the other things about the families getting their keys to their house, and they are Section 8 tenants. Well, that program falls under my department as well. It's a tough program because a lot of times, you get some of the tenants that go, it's too much, and they call us on the phone, and we kind of like talk them back in. It's all right. I understand that it's a lot of work, but you can do it. So that's another program that I do.
The process of what you have to do.
The process of, sometimes it's for them, sometimes it's just the aspect. People have fear. It's fear of, I'm going to have this amount of responsibility. I don't know if I can do it. So there are a lot of times where we kind of like have to, it's not just me, they call Mr. Knight, they're like, calling him personally, he's got to talk people off of the ledge sometimes because they're nervous. And purchasing a home is not an easy feat. It's a lot for people who aren't on Section 8. So imagine you're on Section 8 and now you're going to make this purchase. They get a little gun shy, but at the end of the day, they do good.
Is there any follow-up with them?
Yes.
Just note your questions. We don't want to prolong it, but if you could just hold your questions to the end, each one of us will answer each one of your questions, as many as you want. We just want to make a presentation and then let you ask the questions, please.
But, so that, they do become nervous. And they get assistance from NACA, because we work in accordance with NACA and Invest Newark. So all of us work together in order to do it. So those are my programs. I am available. If I don't answer anybody's phone call, it's not because I don't want to. It's because how many programs I got going on at the same time. Somebody's calling me. You got 5, right? 5 plus. I know there's something else coming down the pipeline. I am available via my information is on the back of the program, so I am available. Email. You can leave me a voicemail message. I will get back to you. My staff will get back to you. I enjoy doing what I do, and I enjoy my special programs. I enjoy being able to assist people. I just do, because each and every one of us have the same goal. You're here at City Hall. I know what goal you have. You're here to help the constituents. I'm at Newark Housing, and I'm here to help our participants. So I try to put my best foot forward. Sometimes I live in my office. However, it's a part of what I do. So I thank you.
The reason we want you to hold your questions, because you're going to have many, and we'll take as much time as you want. When she mentioned 79 Lincoln, I know you're very interested in your senior citizens. We have applications. If we send you the application, you get all the information. You don't send it back to 79 Lincoln. You send it back to me. She will put something on it so you can get processed. I know sometimes when you send seniors down to the Lincoln Hotel, Lincoln's Park building, they get turned around and nobody ever gets back to them. We have vacancies. We have vacancies. And they're 62 years old, and they're 1-bedrooms. So all you have to do is request the application. As I said, you can call me anytime. These guys work from 8:30 to 5. Jackie works from 9 o'clock to 7. Mr. Knight doesn't have time. He doesn't have a time. So I'm available in the office from 7 until 5, and any weekends, any evenings that you want to call me, as I said, make it something like it is an emergency, not to check on somebody's status. Savak Young is going to give you everything else that we did not give you, and then you can ask us questions.
All right, class, if you turn to page 5 in your textbooks, we'll get started. My name is Savak Young. I'm the leasing supervisor at Section 8. The leasing department is in charge of the wait list, the transfers, and the eligibility determination. The transfers can be within the city of Newark or outside the city of Newark in a process that's called portability. As Dwayne said, Section 8 is a national rental assistance program. So if you have a Section 8 voucher, you can go anywhere in the country that administers the program. For example, I have 2 tenants that are currently porting in from Puerto Rico, and we just did the annual recertification for a family that came from Alaska. So again, national means national. Who is eligible for Section 8? Anyone that has essentially applied to our wait list and been pulled off and is income eligible, and they live or work in the city of Newark is eligible for Section 8. We are a Newark-based program, so we have Newark-based preferences. If you do not live or work in the city of Newark, you are not removed from the wait list. You are returned until maybe there's another time where you are pulled and you do now work or live in the city of Newark. We also have income limits based on the number of family members. Those income limits are on page 5, but it's by size, usually between 1-person families and 5-person families. And the reason for that is because we have a HUD target of a very low income target. I believe approximately 75% of our new admissions have to reach the very low income limit threshold in order for us to admit them to the program. The reason for that is because we are designed to target our families that need the most help. Unfortunately, even though you might be making $50,000 a year, it's just you, it's tough, but it's not impossible. So we want that help to go to someone who truly needs it. So that's why our income limits the way that they are. Income limits are set on an annual basis by HUD. They are usually done in October, except for the special time period during COVID when they were done in April. All right? Section 8 is a 3-way partnership. You have us, the housing authority administering the program. You have the family that receives the voucher. And then you have the private landlord that receives the housing assistance through what is called a housing assistance program contract, aka the HAP contract. The HAP contract is an agreement between the housing authority and the private landlord. The voucher is an agreement between the housing authority and the family, and the lease is an agreement between the private landlord and the family. 3-way partnership, 3 contracts. All 3 contracts have to be respected and adhered to. All right? The key responsibilities of NHA is for us to A, provide a safe home for the participating family, and to pay the rent to the landlord and how it's determined income-wise. The key responsibilities of the family are to A, comply with their recertification on an annual basis every year. That will be on the anniversary of their lease up. That particular date never changes. Now, if there's a change in the household prior to the annual, let's say someone starts making more or less money, someone gets married, or someone adds to their family through adoption or birth. At that point, a family will do something that's called an interim recertification. It's called interim because it is not based on the anniversary date of when they first joined the program. As long as they have the supporting documents, we take care of it. All changes should be reported within 30 days of those changes. The reason why we ask for 30 days is because if you do so, that allows us to give you a grace period. Let's say you joined the program. You were in a really tough spot. You were making less than $1,000 a year. All of a sudden, your luck turned around. You got a great job. You're now making $1,000 a week. Admittedly, your rent is about to go up by a lot. You let us know within 30 days. You turn in the packet on January 24th. We're not going to make your rent effective until March 1st. You get at least a 30-day notice so that You can bank that money and you can have the time to start preparing for the new fiscal responsibilities that you have in your household. All right? The key responsibility of the owner is to A, pass one annual inspection per 12 calendar months, and to basically keep the apartment in a safe and hospitable environment for the family. We also work with code enforcement to determine that. We have a private company that handles our inspections, but admittedly, they are not as well trained as the City of Newark's code enforcement. They will catch things, code enforcement will catch things that our inspectors will not. So we meet with them often. We just had an agent from code enforcement meet with my HQS specialist, Ms. Galarza, last week. They spoke for an hour and a half about how some landlords are basically trying to cut corners in order to cut expenses during the winter, because it's more expensive being a homeowner sometimes in the winter than it is the summer, depending on the nature of the utilities that you're responsible for. A lot of landlords will cut expenses. Code enforcement can see that. Sometimes we can't. They let us know, and then we can enforce it. The way we can enforce it is we place a hold on the landlord's payments until they get the repairs done. If they don't get the repairs done, we don't release the payments. And if they take too long, they lose the time period that we've had the payments on hold. Those payments are in a process called abatement. You cannot be paid for a time period in which an apartment is abated. That is the way that we essentially handle and or discipline landlords who are not holding up their end of the contract for our tenants. So if you have a tenant, they come reach out to you, they say, my apartment is in awful condition, should I withhold my rent? The answer is no. If you have subsidized rent, you must pay your portion every month. Contact us. Let us discipline the landlord. Let us enforce our part of our contract. The only reason why you are required to pay your portion every month, those are the federal rules. The portion justifies the subsidy. So let us do our job. You do your job as a tenant. Let the three-way partnership work the way it's supposed to work. Now, if it gets to the point where the apartment is just completely inhabitable or you just want to move, that is a process that's called a transfer. What you do is you fill out a move request, you do a lease termination agreement, and we issue you a voucher to move. Vouchers are issued on a 90-day basis, and a tenant can qualify to up to 3 30-day extensions depending on a case-by-case basis. For some tenants, they have a really hard time finding an apartment, especially if they have a very large family. So we account for that by extending the voucher, possibly reaching out to some landlords on their behalf saying, hey, we can't tell them to rent this specific apartment because that's illegal. But what we can do is say, hey, here's a list of landlords. These landlords, they'll work with you on a security deposit. They have a lot of properties in the South Ward or they have a lot of properties in the North Ward. Give them a phone call when you get a chance. 9 times out of 10, because we make that phone call on their behalf, the landlord might even pick them up on a Saturday and drive them around and show them what kind of apartments they have available. We've established that relationship with our community, with our landlords, so that we can help our tenants who are really struggling in the process in terms of finding a good unit. And in terms of moving outside the city of Newark, that is a process that's called portability. Portability is basically you take your voucher, you say, I'm ready to move to Georgia. My family's down there. I want to be closer to my family. You fill out the port request. We send your documents to the Georgia Department of Community Affairs. It takes them about a week or 2 to get your documents, and all of a sudden you are now looking for an income eligible household in the state of Georgia. The process is that quick if everyone is on the same page in terms of where you're going and where you're going with your documents. All right? Now, the biggest question that you guys, I'm going to go backwards a little bit. The most questions that will frequent your office are likely going to be about the wait list, because New Jersey Department of Community Affairs just opened their wait list. We're likely to open our wait list next month. So you're probably getting a lot of questions as how do I get on the Section 8 wait list? What's required? All you have to do is basically when we advertise, as long as you're in the right place at the right time, you can register for the wait list online. The link will go out. You fill it out. You put all your household members that you want to be on there. And then you indicate whether you live or work in the city of Newark. If you're elderly, if you're homeless, if you're a veteran, we take all of those things into account. And the elderly, the homeless, retired veterans, they usually get first crack at the voucher when we get the funds. As you know, American politics, elections are often cyclical. So that's typically how our funds tend to go as well. So we'll see how it is when we get money next time, but that's typically how it goes on the wait list. You apply, the apply process is pretty quick, and then it's just a waiting game. The last time before 2019 that we had pulled off our wait list was in 2017. So as you know, it's the ebb and flow of American politics that determines our funds, that determines the ebb and flow of how many people we can bring on to the program. I believe since 2021, we've admitted about 1,200 new families to the program. And that's because we finally got the funds to do so. So the waitlist process from waitlist to new admission, it can be a long process with some things that's outside of our control, but as long as you fill out the paperwork properly, you go step by step, you have your documents, it's an easy process. Not a short one, but it can be an easy one. And I will speak for my colleague Blanca, who is back manning the fort at home. She is our occupancy supervisor. Basically, occupancy they are in charge of the recertification part of the process and the interim recertification part of the process. At any point in Section 8, you will always be paying something. We have a PHA minimum of $50. If the utilities are included within the rent, then you are expected, some way or fashion or form, to come up with $50 to pay towards the landlord. If the utilities are not included in the rent, then you are expected to pay that $50 towards PSE&G to take care of your utilities. You cannot be on the program and also not have your utilities turned on. An apartment without electricity or gas is just a shelter. We're not in the shelter business. We're in the home business. So that's why you got to be on top of your utilities, even as a Section 8 voucher holder. The occupancy department reviews that. They review your income. Again, you only got to do it once per year, unless there are changes, and then those changes come within 30 days. Because you're likely to get some constituents, they'll come to the office. I just got a letter from Section 8. They're going to terminate me for missing documents. Well, you just go right there. Well, all you do is turn that in. They take the termination away. You're good to go. No stress, no tears, nothing to stress you out. Just get it done. We don't prioritize terminating tenants. We prioritize giving tenants as much rope as they can in order to remain on the program. Termination is a last step, and even that step is reversible through a hearing process. It's just, we'd much rather you stay on the program, stay on top of your documents than to not do so. We'd much rather just put the carrot out than the stick. The stick, again, is the last resort. And that's it for me. Thank you.
As I stated, we're not like any other Section 8 that has been in the city of Newark. I can say that from experience, since I worked with the previous Section 8s. These guys are not like anybody else. We don't terminate. Somebody tell you that we don't do that. We go we go all the way. If you missing docs and it's been 3 months, bring them in. Bring them in. If you have an interim, we're only going to take the date that you submitted. We take it. If you did not have income for 3 months, that's your fault. Because we give you a briefing on everything that you need to know about Section 8. If you call us and ask us to check somebody on the wait list, and we tell you, yes, that person is on the wait list, but they're not eligible for the Section 8, take our word. We take everybody. We don't discriminate about anybody. We're not like any other Section 8, but we're more community-based because most of us are Newark. We take Newark seriously. That's why we work with your water department, your taxes, everybody here we work with. You can call us anytime. I swear you will get one of us. If one of us don't answer, call again. I promise you, we will give you an answer. If you have a senior that needs to be housed, call us. We will walk it through. If you have a family that you think is homeless, call us. That family must be Newark. That family cannot come from Linden and now's in one of our shelters. That family must be generated from the city of Newark. We are here, believe me, to work with you guys. You will never, ever, ever see another Section 8 like us. So y'all better keep us. Keep us. Right now, we're not social workers, but we can probably tell you the names of a lot of our tenants just by face. They come in, they don't even ask sometimes for they want to talk to us. We go. We're not above that. We don't say that, oh, we're supervised. No, we don't. We go. If a tenant tell you that we was rude to them, believe me, they started it. We don't start back. We have security. And we don't even have to call them. We can just look at them. And they will come in and escort that person out. We are not into causing anybody any hardship. We already know when you come to us, you need us. But you know us. You know how we do. You know we come in with the attitude that we're better than that and we're supposed to get something. If you come right, we work with you. Even if you come wrong, we don't turn your way. Anything you need, please call us. Believe us when we tell you that person is not on our wait list. That person is not eligible because our wait list has housing authority too. If I say that person is on housing authority, she's on housing authority. She's not on ours. We're open for questions. Yes, ma'am.
How do you deal with?
Before we get to the questions, please remember that the mic is up there and it's being recorded. So if you can ask your question and wait for whomever the presenter is or the answerer to repeat it and then answer, that would be appreciated.
Yes, ma'am.
How do you deal with artists that are like their incomes fluctuate a lot? Like
Mr. Young.
So we do have a process for So the question is, how do we deal with artists or households with fluctuating income? We have multiple method of income calculations. The most consistent method for fluctuating income is considered our year-to-date method. It basically accounts for the highs and lows of a non-traditional income when we calculate the income, because when we do it, we annualize it over the course of the next 12 months. So we would basically look at everything. Say an artist with a non-traditional income, let's say they file a 1040 for their taxes, we take a look at that. Or we would take a look at a list of their invoices for 3 months, and then we could annualize their income based off of that. There is multiple avenues in terms of calculating income and the way that we do it. It's not rigid at all.
You guys said that seniors and homeless take preference. The age to be considered a senior citizen is 62?
Yes.
The age to be considered a senior citizen is 62. That is dictated by HUD. Okay.
Do you work with somebody that might be like fall right short of it, but it's close to the edge?
Unfortunately, it is a hard floor of 62. If you're going to be 62 when we lease you up, then you count as elderly. If you are 61, 11 months, and 29 days, then you are not elderly, at least by HUD standards. You may feel like an elderly soul.
But in 79 Lincoln, you must be 62. You cannot have children, okay? You can have a partner, but not children. You must be 62 for 79, one court, 2 Nevada. You must be 62. And it's not 62 or disabled.
Oh, you want to? Okay.
I've heard conflicting stories, and this is more along the lines of eligibility. Are our returning residents eligible for Section 8? Those who have transitioned from prison to a halfway house, et cetera.
Okay, so returning residents are eligible if they are not guilty of two things. One, any form of sexual misconduct. B, any involvement in the production or sale of methamphetamine. Everybody else is eligible for the voucher.
I just want to add to that. It's if they're on the lifetime registrant on the sex offender, if they're that's a hard federal guideline, right? And the sale, manufacture of methamphetamine in any type of federal assisted housing. So it doesn't necessarily have to be public housing. It could be housing assisted through some kind of subsidy under a private landlord. If they're guilty of that, that's a hard line. But other than that, there are ways to work with the families. Oftentimes, they have to have been released for a period, usually about 3 years we look for. But we've even worked with families or individuals who had been released but were on parole because they were able to provide like a recommendation from their parole officer, for example, right? So
And evictions do not stop us either. The individual landlords may do an eviction, not us. And we do not evict. Okay, we only monitor what we do. If the landlord is going to evict you, it's a reason, non-payment of rent. Non-payment of rent will make us want to take your voucher. Because all you have to do is come to us and tell us you have no money. We will pay your rent. Section 8 will pay your rent. You come, you bring us the documents. I've been terminated from my job. We don't care what you was terminated for. If you didn't steal nothing, we will do an interim. We will pay your rent. So there's not a reason for you not to pay your rent. There's no reason for you to be behind.
Sorry, I just have one other thing to add, just on the because you specifically asked about the eligibility process. In the screening on eligibility, if the applicant family has some kind of outstanding debt to federal housing, so for example, if they lived in public housing before and left owing $50, right? That pops up on the federal system when we put in the family's name to submit to HUD as a potentially eligible family, and so they have to resolve that for us to be able to process them being eligible. So
that's the only type of eviction. Housing authorities. We can't lease up you if you owe housing authorities. You have to make an arrangement. You don't even have to pay it all. You just have to make an arrangement to pay it. Correct. They'll tell you how much to pay up front, and then we'll lease you right away, as long as housing authorities release you. That's the only one. Outside our landlords, they got to do on their own. Our landlords are different. Promise you, they're different. Yes?
Okay, I have three questions, boy. One is the main one. It's a lady, her husband passed away like 3 weeks ago. And he was the only one who had a voucher in the house that he lived in, right in that moment. His wife, now she's 86 years old, and she do not want to move from the place that she living now, but she not qualified as you guys think.
Did you say the husband had a voucher? If the husband had a voucher, he passed, the wife will automatically get the voucher. She just got to, she didn't come to us.
In the lease,
Oh.
and she didn't have any, that is the case that she had now, but she's.
What about the children? Was the children on the lease?
No children. She had one daughter, but the daughter is not in the lease either.
The only reason that we wouldn't be able to help her, because she was not a part of our program. So we cannot make like exceptions. That is not what HUD says. We have certain guidelines just like you guys. We have to follow all of them. We wouldn't even be, unfortunately, we're going to hold the money So if he died this month, we're not paying the landlord next month. They're only going to give her until the end of this month to move.
Exactly. Her problem, she becoming homeless now. She is 86 years old.
She can go to 79 Lincoln. She can go to 79 Lincoln, and that's according to her income. You can ask me for the application. I'll send it to you. You complete it. Send me all the backup. We'll get it over there. She can move in 79. It's available now. And we rushed through the inspections for 79 Lincoln because they're seniors. And she will like 79 Lincoln. It's multicultural, okay? It's pretty. It's clean. Everybody like everybody. They play games. She will like 79 Lincoln. You call me, I'll send you the application.
Juana, we're gonna go to the
Another
next.
case is-
Juana, we're gonna come back to you after we get a couple of
Questions for you.
So my question is that young lady has Section 8, right? Already, she's been applying for different apartments and everything, but she had a charge back in 19, and some of the landlords are not, allowing her to be in the apartment because of this charge she had.
What was her charge?
Section 8 due to
What was her charge?
it was a gun charge.
She shot somebody?
She possession.
She should call me.
Call me. All right. Before you leave out of here, I'm gonna have
201.
It's on the back,
What?
in the box, in the box.
Can I chime in on that?
No, because you're not going to tell them. All I'm going to do is give them to them.
It's in the box.
I'm gonna tell
Grab
them
one from the
something.
box.
I'm gonna mention to them about the law.
No, we don't want to go
This,
confused.
oh, okay.
Everything that we put in this document,
This is it.
actually tried to answer as many questions as we could. So you don't have the questions right now, but you have our email address. Yes, sir.
Oh, question over here.
You have our email address. You can email us. We will respond immediately. Whatever you want to do. Yes, sir.
How long does it take to do the abatement process? So let's say if someone calls us and they say buy houses, whatever, and when we call, let's say Section 8, how long does that process take?
Inspections, the question is how long does our abatement process start to take effect? Inspections are requested almost immediately, at least the same business day. CGI, depending on the inspector's schedule, may take a day or between 1 to 3 days to go out and inspect the unit. Once they verify the first fail of items, basically verifying what's wrong with the apartment, if there are any emergency items such as a gas leak, lack of a smoke detector, lack of window guards for minors in the unit, they will come back out in 24 hours to see if the items have not been fixed. If the items have not been fixed in the emergency case, the abatement process starts the very next day, meaning that if we have already paid out for the entire month, not only will we not pay out for on February, we will actually start to recoup from January 25th onwards, meaning that we'll take back a prorated amount of money. If there are not any emergency items, landlords are usually given about 5 to 10 business days in order to fix items before we go back out again. So you have an inspection, it fails on January 25th, no emergency items. They go back out on February 9th. It fails again. At that point, the abatement starts the first of the next month, meaning that the payments will stop on March 1st.
So if the inspector says CGI,
We also use yours too.
so I was gonna say, so if a code enforcement officer went there and noticed it,
If a code enforcement officer went to the house and noticed a myriad of issues and they were prepared to basically start a court case on the tenant, we would place an immediate hold on the payments until we can also send our inspectors to go out and verify what's wrong. The reason why we have to do that is because we have a contract with the landlord. Our contract says that we can do abatement based off of CGI failed inspections. Code enforcement, we can use as a secondary tool in order for us to get started about something we didn't know about beforehand.
Now, with your inspectors, they take pictures. Now, depending on how bad it is, we can react immediately. We also notify the landlord. When we say abatement, If you fix it 3 months down the line, you lost 3 months.
Exactly.
We don't go back. You don't
So,
get paid.
in that same situation, we stopped the payments March 1st. The landlord took their time. I guess they did not take us seriously. They didn't repair anything until June 27th. That means that they're not going to get paid again until June 27th and onward.
Tenants must continue paying their portion. It is not a time for them to say they're not paying. They have a contract. They're still living there, so they must pay their portion. We, Section 8, will not pay.
Now, the tenant is not going to be forced to stay in an inhabitable unit.
No.
March 1st, we stopped the payments. April 1st, well, typically April 15th, because it's easier for my staff to do required moves in the middle of the month, the tenant will be sent a required move package. It will have a voucher. It will have an RTA, which goes to the new landlord. It will let them know how long they have to find a new unit. Now, if the unit passes inspection and the tenant wants to stay where they are, they don't want to uproot their life because of a couple of months of laziness, we cancel the required move. The tenant can stay. As long as the unit is in good condition, the tenant can stay. There are a couple of odd situations where that's not the case. If a landlord terminates the HAP contract and they just decide they don't want Section 8 anymore, we have to move the tenant. Unfortunately, sometimes a landlord has the right to do that. It's their property. They can do what they want with their property. If we have a landlord who sells the property and the new owner does not want to comply with the change of ownership process, we might also ask the tenant to move in that situation as well. While you're on Section 8, HUD dictates that you cannot be unassisted for 180 days or more and remain on the program. That's the entire thought process behind the required move. Because once we stop payments, at that point, the clock starts ticking. 1, 2, 155, 180. We would then be required to start the termination process. Again, we don't like to do that, so we might go a little bit above and beyond, call a landlord to say, hey, do you have an apartment in this area for this tenant? They usually say yes. But that's the whole idea behind a required move. That's when we are no longer spending any more money towards that apartment.
Also, we do not pay security. We have no involvement in the security. When you move into a unit, you know you have to pay security. There are other agencies that may help, but not Section 8.
Full amount.
Unless you're making a wrong thing, but unless you make an arrangement with the landlord, when you look at the unit and you sign the RTA and you say to him, I'm not going to have the full security, but I will pay you X amount per month. And that landlord says yes, but that has nothing to do with us.
Right. Now, I will tell a tenant, hey, security in New Jersey is a month and a half max, period. If they're already asking you for 2 months, this person's trying to rip you off. See if you can look at some. You're not even in the apartment yet, and they're already trying to take advantage of you.
Change.
New Jersey also allows you to do a maximum of 10% of the security on a monthly, on top of your rent, in order to fully pay it off. A lot of people don't know that, but if you don't have it at the time, it's $1,800. You and the landlord can agree to pay an extra $180 a month on top of your portion, because again, we don't have anything to do with that. That's a Jersey law, in order to fully come up with the security deposit.
We also do not assist you in getting your security back. What we tell you is, when you start to move out, take a video of the apartment with a date on it, give them a return address. If in 30 days they do not send you your security, go down to landlord-tenant court and file against them. Get 3 times. But we cannot assist you with the security. Yes, sir.
No.
Nope, sorry.
No. Right over here.
So, how far, when applying, can applicants put on life expectancy change on the application? For example, a couple is expecting a baby in X amount of months, but they're applying for housing today. Should they put that expected additional person on the application?
The couple should if the pregnancy has basically reached the 2nd trimester.
Babies do not get their own room.
Well,
Well, no.
well, not
Head of
necessarily.
household get their room.
The head of
and then the
household gets
baby
their
can have a
own.
room.
The head of household
But,
gets their own room
And 2
regardless.
heartbeats to a room
So
of
yeah,
the same sex.
So a pregnant mother
Would
in
get
her
a
2nd
2-bedroom.
trimester gets a 2-bedroom voucher. If she already has a kid, then that also becomes a 2-bedroom because when you have 2 children under the age of 5, if they are different genders, per HUD and our rules, they can share a bedroom.
And if a mom has a child that has a disability that cannot be in the same room with their brother or sister, they do a reasonable accommodation. They do not take it to the doctor. I send it to the doctor, and the doctor must say, child needs its own room. Those words must be on the document. And we do not let you shop around to find a doctor for that particular statement. You get one shot at the apple.
Okay, we're gonna go back to Juana and then back to David.
Yeah, my another question was, is a couple, they came here, her mom told them that they will live with her. She live in an apartment which is only allowed her to live in. But she said like almost the same age, is like 80 something. I exactly don't know exactly the time, but she's very old. And then she needs assistance because she's right now, it's all over.
That's called a reasonable accommodation. Okay, it's not a couple thing. All right, so the mom needs help. All right, so she do a reasonable accommodation. It goes to the doctor. The doctor says the mom should have somebody in the house with her. We will do that. Also, guys, we do not go out and inspect and go house to house to see who's living in the apartment. We're just not that, and we don't take complaints on the phone either.
The security don't allow them to be in. And then they have to wait at nighttime when the security goes, so then they
Where do they live, Juan?
in Nevada.
Where?
To Nevada.
They live in Nevada.
Oh, that's different. 2 Nevada is very strict. And the reason that they are is because no younger than 62 can live there. So they don't even accept a reasonable accommodation because they are self-sufficient. They don't look at it. They don't look at it like that. There's only 1 bedrooms in 2 Nevada. There's only 1 bedrooms and 1 court. There's only 1 bedrooms in 79. So where would the care? That's why.
The problem for them, they be outside all day long in the cold. Sometimes they be sitting in the city hall waiting for nighttime to go sleeping, scared every day in that situation.
Unfortunately, in that situation where we do approve a living aid, it's up to the family and the living aid to decide that they want to move somewhere else.
Yes. But that's not Section 8.
That's a family decision.
Yeah, that's not Section 8. That's not Section 8. They can decide to move to a bigger apartment, but that would be on them. That wouldn't be, they're not Section 8.
Let me just say this too.
They no worker, they just came from their country, wherever they come.
So let me just say this too in regards to reasonable accommodations. So in regards to reasonable accommodations and a family is taking in someone to be a living aid, we need their personal documents, birth certificates, social security cards, that other stuff, but we don't count their income. So God forbid, if that voucher holder passes on or has to be put into a nursing home or something, that living aid has no rights to that unit. At the end of the month, that living aid or aids those people, they must vacate the unit because they do not have any rights to the units. Living aids don't have rights to the units. We don't calculate their income, their assets. We do none of that. We do make sure that they pass the background checks. We have to do that, but they have no rights to the units. So keep in mind when we're saying living aids have no rights to the units.
It's never their
at all.
apartment.
It's not their apartment. It's always going to be the head of household's apartment. So please keep that in mind when we're talking about living aids.
David and then Dawn.
Okay.
And you trying to outwork us?
No. No, so that question I had, that's more for like, if you're a third party kind of like living in a private home. If you live in the housing authority, would they just go to their manager or should they still come to?
No, housing authority is different from us.
Right.
So
They're not in our program if they live in
No.
housing
But
authority.
they should always see their asset
They
manager
should always
first.
go to their managers.
So this question is for Ms. BJ.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so if a person is 62 and over and is self-sufficient because they work, is there an income limit that that person
They'll
has?
qualify. They will qualify. I'm quite sure they're gonna qualify.
They will qualify unless they make $40,601 a year.
Yeah.
Unless they make what?
$40,601 a year more than the income limit. It's in the packet, the income limits.
Oh, okay, I seen that.
Yeah. So if they wanna go to 70, like I said, 79 has vacancies. You wanna get a senior in 79, you give us a call. If the senior is a Newark resident, not mostly, 79 will take you without, but we work with Newark residents. But if you have an aunt that lives someplace else, I'll give you an application. 79 must qualify you.
Okay.
Hi, good afternoon. Jomi, Councilman Ramos' office. So I have two questions. The first one is, I have a young lady, well, she's much older. She's lost her 24-year-old via cancer, basically. She entered a deep depression, never researched, and now she's living couch to couch. So she needs assistance, and she's coming to us to request help. So I wanted to know if you had any.
Did you say she didn't research?
Yeah, she didn't research because she got into like a deep depression.
How
after-
long ago did she not research?
About 6 months ago, 7 months ago.
We'd like to check it.
You have to send me her name. Let us check. She may still just be in there. And she may only have to just bring us the research. I'm telling you, we go to every extreme not to terminate. Not to terminate, so.
And if you can emphasize on the, because I know this, I know the information, but I feel like this is something that everybody needs to know. When a person passes away, when a person abandons their lease for neglect, what are the procedures after that? Because they'll come to us and they'll say, we need help getting back on our voucher. And it's like, I mean, I know the process, which is if you're not on the lease, if you're not this, if you're not,
The head of household you're talking about walks away from the unit.
Yeah.
Everybody gotta go. The head of household is not deceased. The only way we would let the next person take the voucher is if the head of household is deceased. So if the mother goes and marries somebody and go to Miami, everybody gotta go. Because we're gonna stop payment on that unit. If the mother goes into senior citizens, daycare, whatever, we stop payment on that unit. The head of household owns the voucher. They can't will them down to somebody. We don't do splits. No, Newark Housing don't do splits. So if the mom wants to leave, she want to leave all the adult children, everybody got to go because we don't pay the rent no more.
The only way to inherit the voucher is through the death of the head of household.
The only way. But your person, you should send me her name, let us check, last 4 digits of her social security number, and if she is still in the system, we can get her back. And then she may only have to do a hearing.
We putting his hand down.
David, you just one
Put your
more.
hand down.
You worked with us, you should know everything.
Really quickly, I know you said there's no way to inherit except for death, but could there be a situation where, say, the owner of the voucher makes it known to you guys that they intend to move, and they have someone in the family who is of the same, like, as part of the application, can you guys then, I guess, do a process then, knowing that they're going to move in 3, 4, 5 months to another state, give it to that person by way of just changing the
The head of household's name.
No, we can't do that.
Deceased. That's the only way.
Okay, so
And that's not us.
move out and start anew?
That is
Everybody
correct.
gotta go.
Okay.
Yeah, they simply
It's
can't.
unfortunate.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but the Housing Authority and the Section 8 program just does not do split households.
Right. So the person would just have to initiate a brand new application?
No,
Well, they-
the person-
No, I'm saying, like, let's say,
Let's say if there was a situation where they could apply, they would have to do that.
gotcha,
but they have to leave that unit
Correct.
right, okay,
and wait until we call them.
Right. So they were just got it.
Yeah.
So before David, I have a quick question. What's the difference between the state Section 8 and the city Section 8?
The City of Newark Section 8, which is administered by us, is strictly for the city. It has different payment standards, but not so different that it affects the process. The state Section 8 is administered by the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs. They have offices in Trenton, and they have a local office on 7 Glenwood Avenue in East Orange.
And Freeland
And Freelandheisen Avenue. The state Section 8 is basically for the entire state of New Jersey. So that could be
Anywhere.
Atlantic City.
Anywhere.
It could be select locations in Newark, East Orange, Trenton, Sussex, Teaneck, anywhere in Jersey.
And their wait list is open until February the 3rd. February the 3rd. Everybody should apply. You never know what might happen in the next 3 years, and you may need to get the Department of Community Affairs. So February the 3rd, you can apply online.
But they are beholden to the same rules that we are in terms of interims, annual recertifications, abatements, voucher time limits, voucher extensions, who is eligible to apply, income limits, payment standards, which are based on the market rent of the area and the specific city or county. Some housing authorities even do zip code-based payment standards. That's a very technical process. We don't do that simply because our city is just too big for it. But again, different Section 8s, same rules.
We're more personal. You will always be able to get us. You're not going to be able to get them. We're more personable.
That one's actually true for DCA.
That's true.
Okay, my last simple question. Can you just say for everyone where they could go and pick up an application?
You cannot pick up that.
So it's not the paper one that's
It's going to be online.
It's online.
We're going to notify all of y'all.
Okay.
Y'all will know the week we know, y'all will know.
So that paper application that people go.
That's not us.
That's
not us. And do not do the ones that's on Facebook. That's not us. You're giving somebody else your personal information. That is not us.
There is no way in any shape, fashion, or form that you can apply on Facebook to get Section 8. Do not let anyone scam you.
Even if you see our names, because they have used our names.
They've used our names, they've used our contact information to legitimize their scam.
That's not us. You just gave somebody all your personal information. We will never do it that way.
You will never be charged for an application
No.
or charged for a voucher.
No.
Ever.
This is a free process.
And we don't do this.
And there's a lot of that going around, so please,
There really is.
please.
Be
And you
careful.
see it,
Say
it
please
says,
enough.
it
Don't
says
do it.
Section 8, and you might see BJ Walton, Savard Young, Jack. Those are not us.
No.
I mean, that's our names, but it's
But
not
we
us.
don't do Facebook. We really don't.
What is the average weight on your waiting list? And do you know what the average weight is on the DCA waiting list?
For a little history, just about the waiting list. So the Section 8 wait list was last opened in 2013, meaning all the people that we were servicing since then were on the list before, since 2013. Now, I'll tell you something. If I recall, in 2015, there were clients serviced in 2015 that had been on the wait list since 2002.
Yes.
Because when the wait list was opened in 2002, it was like 20,000 people, you know? And then, so it's the length of a wait list, right? Because there's a lot of need out there. And then the ability to issue new vouchers is driven by additional funding, right? Because each year you're continuing to service the families that are still on the program. And, you know, you put that with rising housing costs and, you know, a stingy federal government, you know. But it's been better since COVID. As you heard, we've been able to help a lot more families, right? So, but what's happening is agencies are being smarter about how they administer waitlists, so families don't kind of sit on their waitlist that long. And the way you do that is, you know, you have a waitlist of, say, 15,000 1,000 people, but then you do regular updates to it, and then you're able to purge off people who don't respond to the update, because the idea is to kind of keep the wait list current with people's most current information. So if people moved and never notified the agency that, because that's an issue. We have clients that were on the wait list that we mailed applications to, and months later they come back to us and we're saying, look, we mailed your application to your address here at on Central Avenue, and they're like, I moved from there 8 months ago. Did you tell us? You gotta know, so that's important. It's an important reminder to applicants that make sure that they do update the Section 8 program with their most current address information. I know that's more than what I thought is important. Sorry, go ahead.
While you're there, I have a follow-up to that. So in that same vein, if somebody just every time it opens, applies, are they where do they still fall in the same line? If the new application, is it voided because they're on it from previously?
No.
How does that work?
Each list is independent. Each wait list is independent. So if when a new wait list is open, people apply and get on that wait list, anybody from the previous wait list must still be serviced before you can go to the new wait list. Okay. Right?
The ones that have contacted us.
Right, of course,
they have not,
most current information and all of that, yeah.
Right here, Felicity.
Hi. So, what I want to know is, what's your means of communication with these constituents? Is it through mails or email? Like, what's more effective for you guys in updating their information? Because as you just mentioned, one of the more of you guys mail them, but I think it would be better actually emailing people and having them create accounts.
No, what we're going to do is we're going to advertise in all of your newspapers.
Right.
We already contacted Councilman Ramos's office. They're going to send us a list. We're going to advertise everywhere, just not going to advertise on Facebook.
But also concerning clients that are on the wait list currently, their charge is to make sure that Section 8 is updated with their information. I mean, that's part of it is also their responsibility, right? So you have a family and they notify the program so that when we're pulling from the wait list, they ensure that they get the information, right? I mean, we have had instances where clients have said, look, I still live at this address, and we're saying, look, we mailed you something. They've brought back documentation saying, look, this is where I live. So we realize there's something may have happened with the mail. The family you can't penalize the family for that. Of course, we reinstate them to the wait list, and when their name comes up again, we send them an application.
Only means of communication is mailing.
No. Initially, the primary means of communication when somebody is first pulled from the wait list is the application is mailed. When families are applying for wait lists, though, as you've seen now, especially since COVID, I mean, DCA's wait list that's open currently, it's online. It's an online portal and all of that families can apply.
It's impossible for us to notify everybody. You're going to get like 25,000, 50,000 people. It is totally impossible for us to notify people. So we're setting it up so that we will put the responsibility back on the tenant.
We'll do one more question. Anybody that didn't ask a question?
Oh, I had a question.
Oh, okay, so we'll do two. Okay, we'll do 3 more, that's it. Okay.
Oh, all right. No, so I'm not sure if this would probably be affiliated with it, but I was wondering if by any chance, being that we are getting all these assailants, right, these new folks from Texas, dropped off in New York and brought over here, do you know if by any chance they're most likely proposing new funding to assist these families, or that wouldn't fall under you guys?
That's not Section 8. So the thing about Section 8 is that it's a requirement that the family either be a citizen or an eligible non-citizen. Those are the only 2 groups we can help, based on the federal law.
Y'all know we have the largest homeless program.
Right. Yeah. But it's to be precise though. If a family is what we call a mixed family, meaning there are people in the family that do have status, either they are citizens or eligible non-citizens, and there are people in the family who are undocumented, that family can still receive Section 8 assistance. It's just the family is what is called prorated, right? So let's if I use an example of a family of 4, right, where 2 of the members are either citizens or eligible non-citizens, right, and 2 of the members are undocumented, if you will. That family, the calculation of that family's housing assistance will be calculated at 50%. So let's say the family was, the calculation would be done, and they say, okay, look, the assistance this family, if it was the entire family was eligible, would be $500. Instead, there are 2 members of the 4-person household, so 50%, so the family will be assisted at the level of $250. So it ensures that those that should benefit still do, if you will. Okay.
Last?
Thank you.
The wait list that's open now, that's DCA?
DCA.
Yes, correct.
February the 3rd.
So
Affiliated with that one?
No.
Or it's only?
we're Newark Housing Authority. DCA is the state's housing authority. Everybody, they should all apply. If you go on their website, I think it closes February 3rd. So yeah.
Send it to the 28th, I thought.
They did? They didn't
Yeah,
send it to
that's
us?
what I got.
Go on their
Okay.
website.
Yeah.
Go. It opens up at 9.
So one that's looking for Section 8 and Newark, they should apply to DCA and.
They can still, they should still apply.
You know they
Yep.
can still move in Newark
Yeah.
from
right.
DCA.
Applying to one wait list does not preclude you from applying to another one.
Okay. But if they want to do the Newark wait list from,
Sure.
they can apply to you.
Yes, when it opens, they can apply to it as well.
Yep.
Yes.
Currently not open.
It's not currently open, but we're looking to open it soon, in the near future. So. All right. No.
Also, we're going to ask that in your little city halls, when the client comes to you, and they want you to assist them, we're going to send you the information so that you can assist them in preparing for us. So that when they send us their documents, they send us a complete document, not part of it. So we're going to notify everybody. And we're open again. We can do this act anytime y'all want. All you have to do is call us and we will schedule you. Just give us a day and we will be available to you.
I just want to take this opportunity to say a formal thank you. I'd like to take this opportunity to say thank you to Newark Section 8, the team, for being here. It was definitely beneficial to everybody in attendance and to those that'll be listening or viewing it in the near future. I do have tokens of our appreciation for you, so when I get down, you'll get those. But we also want to do more of this because we get a lot of questions. Anything that benefits the community at large, we want to be able to share with the community at large. So look forward to hearing from me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.